Hello and welcome to this recording, Introduction to Mindfulness Part 1. And over the next 10 or 15 minutes or so, we're just going to talk a little bit about what mindfulness is, what it isn't, and just ways that we can set up our own mindfulness practice at home. So starting with a definition of mindfulness, what is mindfulness or mindfulness meditation? And there are many different definitions. The simplest being bringing awareness and just becoming aware of our inner and our outer experience. So our outer experience being what we're seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, smelling, and our inner experience really meaning being aware of our thoughts and feelings. And once we're aware of our thoughts and feelings, we can then choose how to react to them. And we learn through mindfulness how to react to them in a non-judgmental, compassionate manner. So that's very simply what it is. We tend in general to think of ourselves as being fixed in our ways and that we can't fundamentally change. However, this isn't necessarily the case. By being more conscious of what's actually going on within our heads and what our reactions to experiences are, by bringing that awareness, we can decide then how we react and how we respond to situations, and we stop drifting on in autopilot. And we become aware that we're not our thoughts, that we're aware of our thoughts and emotions, and we then can encourage them in a particular direction. And it does seem life at the moment in particular is a constant juggle of tasks to be done. Some days the list can seem absolutely endless, and it's very easy to get lost in this whirlwind of daily life and forget about your own needs. So what mindfulness can do is to bring you the tools to introduce a little bit of stillness to your daily life, to stop this constant chattering of your thoughts, and learning that there's no need to beat yourself up about what's gone on in the past. There's no need to worry constantly about the future, and you can just simply live being fully present. And that is very simple in lots of ways, but also quite a challenge to develop and rewire your brain into moving in this direction. And this is what this mindfulness course is all about. So after I talk about what mindfulness is, I always go on then to talk about what mindfulness isn't. And mindfulness meditation, being mindful, it's not about being relaxed or just chilling out. You can achieve relaxation by watching TV, reading a book, listening to music, and that's all really good as well. But becoming aware and bringing awareness to your thoughts and keeping focused on just one thing when you're meditating is quite hard work, and it does require effort. And it's important to remember as well that attending an occasional class or occasional course won't provide a magic bullet and immediately fix your stressed mind. If only there were such a magic bullet, that would be brilliant. What we need to do is to commit to a regular, sustained practice. And that's just like, committing yourself to training for the gym. Starting a couch to 5K program, you start off small, you build up, but you need to stay going at it. And it's the same thing with mindfulness. And there are a lot of benefits. It has been very well researched. There's a lot of fantastic benefits of a regular mindfulness practice, including decreased stress, improved immunity, better concentration and memory, increased empathy, to name just a few. But again, it is important to remember that a lot of these scientific papers and the research have been done on people who have practiced maybe 45 minutes a day over a period of up to 2 weeks. So while there's no prescribed dose of mindfulness meditation as such, certainly small amounts of meditation are also shown to have benefit. It is important to realise that all of this takes effort. This is the starting on a lifelong path or a lifelong journey. It's a good way to approach it. A good way of approaching a course, rather than thinking the course itself as a means to an end. It really isn't. It's just the start of a path. It's planting seeds and seeing what grows from there. So back to what mindfulness meditation isn't. So often people do come to class and want meditation for relaxation. It's not necessarily that. You don't have the goal of being relaxed and chilled out at the end of your period of practice at all. In fact, you're just allowing yourself to be aware of what's going on, and sometimes you're being aware of uncomfortable, unpleasant feelings and just gently sitting with those feelings and allowing them to be. The other thing people sometimes ask for when they attend classes is they want to clear their mind, they want to empty their mind of thoughts. And again, mindfulness is not the practice to do this. Your mind is like a computer, basically, constantly thinking, churning over, fixing problems, both real problems and imagined ones. And mindfulness meditation doesn't aim to stop this. It accepts those thoughts are there. And what we say often is it may help to think of your thoughts flowing like waves in the ocean. And with mindfulness, we are learning how to surf the waves. We're not trying to stop them reaching the shore. Having said that, often a benefit of regular practice is that your mind does seem to feel clearer. And certainly I would be one to attest to this. It has that sense that there's a clearness or clarity there. But you're not trying to empty your mind or stop all the thinking. And when you meditate, we accept that all these thoughts are still there, coming and going. So a couple of things to remember. Firstly, there are many different types of meditation, many different styles of teachers as well. Mindfulness is just one of them. If what you learn in this course doesn't resonate with you, don't stop the search. Find another teacher or another type of meditation that resonates with you more. Don't just give up. There's no need. The second thing to remember and bear in mind is that meditation and developing a mindful practice is a marathon and not a sprint. And to help kickstart your journey, it would be great if you could set aside a particular area in your house or a corner of the room for your practice. Have everything that you need there, like a comfy chair, a cushion, maybe a blanket to throw over you. It doesn't have to be elaborate. While we will certainly cover through the course about taking quick periods of mindfulness and meditations anywhere and any time, it is really nice when you're starting a formal meditation practice to have a special spot for you to go to. So just as the body can learn how to feel immediately more energized by simply putting on your gym gear, the mind also quickly learns to drop into meditation mode when you go to your little mindful space and area. So have a think about that. If you're tight on space or it doesn't seem like a practically possible thing to do, don't use it as an excuse not to do your daily practice. It's much better to grab 5 minutes on the way to work or sitting in your car before you get out, coming home at the end of the day, rather than waiting until you've time to get to your special corner and maybe be too tired to practice. So it's just a thought. See what works for you day by day. And on a similar theme, there are no hard and fast rules, but some tips on just helping establish mindfulness as part of your routine. So in general, if possible, try to schedule your meditation at the same time of the day in order to set up your routine and just help your mind settle automatically. Morning can be ideal for some people before the daily distractions begin, but equally, evening may suit others. Choose a time that suits you and then try and stick to it. How long to sit for? At the start, try 5 minutes, maybe try 10 minutes a day. Even if you just sit for 1 or 2 minutes, that's better than no minutes at all. Then you can slowly build up to 20 or 30 minutes if you can. And if not, that's fine. As I said before, daily practices of short times have been shown to show benefit too. And remembering training your mind is like training your body. It takes time and effort and it won't happen overnight. This is a lifelong journey we're on here. So if you're starting off with a minute, that's absolutely fine. And just going through before and after any meditation you do, we can follow the following steps, which may sound like a lot when they're read out, but after a bit of practice, they become second nature. And during the guided meditations that I'll put up on YouTube or in the course, I will go through most of this in less than a minute. So the process will feel familiar then when you sit at home. So first of all, just being aware of your posture. So ideally meditating, doing a formal meditation seated, basically because it's more comfortable. And if you lie down, there's always the risk of drifting off to sleep, and that's not your intention with this practice. So try to be comfortable when you're sitting. Keep your posture nice and upright. Keep your spine straight and long, but not rigid. Have a chair with a nice back support for support. Keep your legs uncrossed and keeping the knees level with your hips. So if you need an extra cushion or need a couple of phone directories underneath your feet to raise them up, use those. Perhaps placing a cushion under your hands as they rest on your lap can prevent any shoulder soreness or pain. Just dropping your shoulders down from your ears, dipping your chin a little bit to take any tension out of the neck and relaxing into your body. And once you get comfortable, just try not to move. Keep that sense of stillness. If you feel discomfort, acknowledge it first and perhaps try to breathe into it during your meditation. Don't fight it. If you need to move, do it slowly and mindfully. Try to avoid constantly rustling as soon as you feel a little niggle or an ache or a pain. But equally, again, having said all that, don't be put off by the thoughts of having to sit in a certain way. You can easily meditate on the bus or the dart without bringing your cushions or whatever with you, but just keeping those pointers in mind, maybe just uncrossing the legs, sitting a little bit straighter, keeping the hands nice and relaxed. So just practicing your posture every time you sit. And the next step or the next stage is bringing your awareness to your inner experience and thinking of your emotions. Asking yourself how you are feeling before the start of each sit. Seeing what arises, maybe thinking of a colour or weather as a reflection of your state of mind. It doesn't matter what the answer is. As we said before, you don't have to be relaxed, you don't have to be calm, you're not trying to attain or achieve anything. Just identify. Don't get involved with your emotional state. Just acknowledge it and just let that be. And then moving to broadening your awareness. Perhaps being aware, first of all, of distractions, sounds outside of the room, then perhaps sounds, things going on closer to you, noticing thoughts as they swirl around in your head. And again, just being observant, just being aware of what's going on. Being aware of the different sounds, the different noises, activity. The world's not going to stop because we are meditating. We're not trying to still the world. We're trying to still ourselves within. So don't get caught up in everything else. Just let it be. And then let the breath emerge. Just bringing your awareness to your natural breath and just being aware, paying attention to your inhale and exhale. Very simply. Not forcing anything or changing anything. Just maintaining an attitude of curiosity and enjoyment and releasing any expectation. There is no expectation. Then breathing, being aware of your breath or whatever else you're choosing to meditate on for whatever period you want to do. Maybe you just simply take a couple of breaths here and then start to finish up. And by finishing up, we just let go of the practice. We bring our attention slowly back from our narrower focus to the broader focus, becoming aware of outside surroundings, where you're sat down, noises, etc. And simply just sit still for a few minutes, letting thoughts come and go, not concentrating on anything in particular. Perhaps taking a couple of deep breaths, beginning to wiggle fingers and toes. And before you come back into the world, maybe checking in with yourself a final time and asking yourself how you're feeling again. Very, very simple. And remembering at the end of your meditation, there's no such thing as a bad meditation or I can't meditate. Meditation, in fact, it's not about forcing the mind to be absolutely still or forcing the mind to be a certain way. It's really the opposite. So it's a letting go of resistance. It's a letting go of whatever might arise, letting go any doubt, worry, feeling inadequate, the feeling I can't do it, letting go all the dramas, fears, desires. And it's completely normal to find your mind drifting back and forth, daydreaming, back to the past, ahead to the future. And all you're doing is just paying attention and just coming back to that present moment. And that really is all it is. It couldn't be more simple. So a very, very simple practice. But simplicity doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy to do. It takes practice. And this might be a good time as we approach the end of our first part of our introduction to mindfulness, giving you a little bit of a taster about what mindfulness is, what it's not, how to approach a formal practice. And it might be a good time now to move on to the guided counting the breath meditation, sitting down and starting off your formal meditation journey. Thank you for listening, and we'll speak again in part 2.